Oh, and he's gone. Alrighty. Well, third time's, I guess, a little bit half of a charm. Welcome to Beyond the Shadows podcast, hosted by Haunted Souls Paranormal. I'm Maddie. Dan is supposed to be here, but clearly um, we're having some technical difficulties if you could not tell. Um, Started the first live, it crashed. I ended it. I had to make a whole new one. Then on the second one, somehow it got disconnected from our YouTube, so then it wouldn't allow me to um it wouldn't allow me to
Oh,
then
try this again.
then it wouldn't allow me to connect YouTube. And then now we have this. So if this is your first time here on the podcast, this happens almost every single week.
If something goes wrong, we're just going to end it. I'm sorry. It's just the internet here. Something's going on with the internet. Seems like ever since we built this wall, the internet's just been crazy. But welcome. It's hot here.
We're going to bear with it. Just heads up, Dad, you are lagging. Just a heads up. Hello. Anyway. Alrighty.
Can't even hear nothing.
Well, we're just going to go ahead. Weather, it's hot. It is storming, so that could also put a factor into the Wi-Fi too. Let's see. Aunt Kathy said, "Hey y'all okay? Yes, we're trying." Lauren said that the mansion ghosts steal the Wi-Fi again. I don't know. Who knows? I don't even know what's happening. It is so frustrating, but we're trying. Gina said, "Happy Tuesday." Hi, Gina. Brandon said, "Hi, guys." Jeremy said, "Yo, what's happening? Brock Doodle Doo here in the house." Hello. Steven said, "What topics do you talk about?" Kind of everything paranormal. Can you hear me, Dad? I'm guessing that is a no question mark. Hold on. Hello. Hello. Anyways, alrighty.
I can't hear anything.
Okay. Okay, I can hear you a little bit. Okay. We're just hello, Christopher. Hi. What's new? We just did a podcast, or a radio segment show, with Haunted Garage. I believe it's called Paranormal Talk. So keep a lookout. We'll post some
It'll be this
release
Saturday.
dates whenever that's going to be released. This Saturday. Well, there you go.
The one episode we did, cryptic. We were not much in the cryptic, but they were discussing these certain. Was a poke lick, frog or something.
And it was the
Poke
frog with the
lick
wand.
and Hopkinsville, the little green guys and stuff. It was pretty hilarious.
Little green guys that are silver. It's pretty fun. So keep a lookout. We talked about MSP. We talked about the St. Louis Haunted Mansion. So it's a really fun podcast to listen to, or radio segment to listen to.
Sorry.
Radio show.
Yeah, radio show. It'll be on 5 FM St. Louis. It's St. Louis Talk Radio. It's like 5 something. We'll post it because the first episode will be this weekend. And then the next
Mhm.
weekend will be the second episode. So we have 2 episodes that we're on with them, and they're all professional. They were in their basement in their studio. It was
Yep. That's pretty
pretty
cool.
cool. They got all the fancy stuff.
They did not have any
Shout out
technical
to Haunted
difficulties.
Garage. Yeah, shout out to Graveyard Haunted Garage there for having us on their radio show and
Yeah.
stuff.
Susan said hi.
So,
Hi, Susan.
what's going on, Susan? Do you want to jump into your laws real quick?
Yeah. So we haven't done laws in a little bit, but I found some. I don't. The website I was looking at didn't specifically say what state it was from, but it's just some weird laws. And it says the sentencing site, sentence type. So it says it is a crime to write a $1 check. According to 18 USC 336, including a check, note, or token less than $1 can cost your freedom. Maximum sentence is 6 months in jail. And then it says issuing, which I thought it was pretty funny because if you ever live in the Midwest, you'll know that it is. If you don't like the weather one day, just wait a couple of days; it'll change. And issuing a false weather report. 18 USC 2047 makes knowingly giving a false weather report is a federal crime. 3 months in jail is the maximum sentence you can get for that. So it's just some weird little. Apparently, they don't live. That law cannot be real in the Midwest because the amount of times that they are wrong
On
is
their weather
ridiculous.
reports. Yeah, it's
Yes.
crazy. Mine is in North Carolina. If you're a bingo lover, you'll hate to find out that a game cannot last more than 5 hours in North Carolina. It's even worse if you like a little glass of wine while playing, because this state, it is illegal to be intoxicated while playing bingo also. So
Why is a bingo even lasting 2 hours?
I don't know if it's the game or the whole thing. Like the whole bingo
Event.
session.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know if that is and stuff. But do you know what a blue law is? You probably don't. You're too young for that. But we used to have blue laws, which were like religious laws. Like you couldn't do things on Sunday, like grocery stores and department stores and stuff were closed on Sundays and stuff. So in the blue law, there's still some blue laws still have legal reminders of this observance on the books. For example, in Salem, West Virginia, it is against the law to eat candy less than an hour and a half before church service. And in Winona Lake, Wisconsin, it is illegal to eat ice cream at a counter on Sunday. And don't expect to order a slice of cherry pie a la mode in Kansas on the Lord's Day. No restaurant is allowed to serve it unless they're willing to run afoul of local police. Marbles, dominoes, and yo-yos are also banned on Sundays in a handful of states. So there you go. You can't play dominoes, marbles, or play with your yo-yo on Sunday.
Apparently not.
Yeah, can't eat ice cream either. Imagine that.
Well, that's what happens when you live in the Bible Belt. No offense to anybody that lives in the Bible Belt, but
yeah,
we don't have blue. I don't think we have blue laws here in Missouri.
No, we used
Definitely
to.
not.
We used to. We used to have to get your liquor if you were going to drink.
Mark said hi from
New Zealand. Hey, hello, Mark.
Said hi from New Zealand.
Rude Minds. Hey, y'all. Hey.
Rude said hiya.
We saw them at Santiago as the Scared City. Yep. Hiya. Okay, with that, I guess we let Larry sit there long enough now. So if you want to bring in our guest this week.
Yes.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello, hello, hello.
Those were some interesting laws. Like I got to
Third
give you
time's a
that.
charm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
don't
we
you
were.
think?
What was it?
There's
The
some
second
crazy
one
things.
was sitting there. I'm like, this intro's really
Yeah.
long. It's like a 3-minute intro. Just keeps repeating. Something's happening.
Oh,
Something's
yeah.
wrong.
That was not even our
I
intro.
know.
Did you even do the intro? That's our the show's coming. We didn't even do our
Yeah.
intro.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I saw the second one. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I
It's
did do that.
oh, did you? I didn't see it on
Yeah.
my side.
Yeah.
Sorry. There's a lot of stuff I ain't seen over here. So
No,
the
you're
the
I
good.
have
lovely spirits have been
I
crazy
know.
here.
It's okay.
I have other friends that are doing podcasts tonight, and a lot of them are also having issues. So it might be a StreamYard thing.
Oh, okay. I didn't think about that.
So
I think it is because the first time was fine, and then all of a sudden it just, like, clicked out, and then it was like, live ended. I was like, "What?"
yep, a lot of them are
I was like,
having
"Man."
lag issues and all sorts of things. So it could be a StreamYard thing.
Good to know. Good to know. So,
For
Larry,
once,
do you
it's not a
want
Haunted
to
Souls
tell
paranormal thing.
everybody? Yeah, tell everybody about yourself and what you do.
Sure. I guess the simplest way to put it is I'm an author, a historian, a filmmaker, and I go by paranormal researcher. I'm that's what I prefer is a researcher, not an investigator. But to me, they're more or less interchangeable. Kind of, I guess, depends on preference, but that's in a nutshell what I do. I write books. I do paranormal documentaries and films, and I had a network series for 3 seasons, and then I like to just go out and find new locations and new spirits to talk to.
Nice. You want to tell everybody some of the books that you have wrote?
Yeah, so I have 2 books and one ebook that just came out here about a week ago. The first book is The Ghost of the Black Hawk War. It is half history, half paranormal about the Black Hawk War of 1832, and it's everything for the state of Illinois. Um, half the war, approximately 3-ish months, was fought in Illinois, and then eventually it moved up into southern Wisconsin, and then that's where our research ended for the time. We're still researching the Wisconsin side. It's a little harder to track because once Black Hawk and his forces got into Wisconsin, they were completely in a retreat. So they were kind of scattered and moving about, and there weren't very many like hard pinpointed skirmishes. So
Mhm.
we got, well, I mean, not really surprisingly, but we got a fair amount of activity in the half dozen sites we visited in Illinois. Um,
Mhm.
and some of those captures were pretty compelling. Um, One of my favorite, and it's in the book, but it's an audio from an SB7, and my partner Dan, who's co-wrote the book with me, he's asking questions at one of the battle sites, and he goes, "Well, how many spirits are out here?" And it goes, "7 of us." Oh, okay. And then all of a sudden, in between his questions, the SB7 gives the verbal command to fire. So, we're
Wow.
talking 1832 here, right? So it's not just, open fire whenever you want. It's ready, take aim, fire. That with that tonal inflection.
Wow.
We captured the fire.
Nice.
So that was like, whoa, that was weird. You wouldn't come across that on AM radio stations at a pretty decent sweep rate that comes
Yeah.
across 3 or 4 stations.
Yeah, I mean, what on FM? What's going on at that time at night or during the day that someone's
Yeah,
saying fire anyway?
right.
That's crazy.
Right. So that was a really compelling response. And then at another battle site, the first one of the war, it's called the Battle of Stillman's Run. In the very beginning of our research, we couldn't find Stillman's campsite. Of course, we're talking 1832. Illinois was a prairie back then, and then it's
Mhm.
much different now.
Yeah.
While a lot of it's cornfield in that area, there is a town, there are houses, there are public works. So we were having a hard time finding it. And we basically just asked the spirits, in what direction was your camp? And we would just go, this way, this way, yes, that way. So we started doing the research, and we were looking for. It was supposed to be located on top of a hill, because the hilltop was the best vantage point to view from. And we just basically drew a line, more or less, where we thought we were standing and what direction we were pointing. And lo and behold, it more or less pointed straight at a hill. So we go to that hill, we equip dowsing rods and SB7s and all the normal gadgets, and started asking the spirits, hey, is this where the campsite was? Yes, it was. Okay. What did the Native Americans do to Stillman's men when they captured them? They scalped them. Okay, I think we're in the right spot. So
I'm going to take that as a yes.
I think this is the hill, but it's private property, so we really couldn't do much more than that little bit there. We did always want to try to metal detect it, because in Stillman's retreat, they rode through their camp and trampled it. Well, you've got clothing and tackle from the horses, and the campsite has the tents and all this equipment. Something's going to break off.
Correct.
Something's going to get pushed into the dirt. And this hilltop where we were at, there's a grove of trees up there. Well, obviously it's not the same trees, because these are all young trees, but these could be the descendants of those original trees. And the farmer's been plowing around the hill, so the stuff on top of the hilltop might actually still be there. So
Well, yeah, he hasn't played with that hill. Yeah.
Nope, they never have. So we're hoping to one day be able to metal detect that. And if we find one random thing that just happens to date back to then, we know we're locked in.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's the first
That'd be
book.
Cool.
The Ghost of the Black Hawk War. Like I said, it's half history, half paranormal. So the book kind of walks you through a basic version of the history, just to give you the facts, just to be dangerous, and then to understand as context for some of the activity we had. Mm-hmm. The second book is a collection of short stories, fictional short stories, written from the ghost's perspective. So now, instead of a story of a human getting scared by a ghost, it's a story of the ghost scaring the human.
Nice.
I like it.
And they're fun. They're based on mine and Dan's investigations, things in our personal lives that got turned into a story. And yeah, it's been very fun. A lot of people really like it. There's always like one story where they're like, that's my favorite story. I love that story. So it's always fun hearing about what story that is and why it's their favorite.
Yeah.
And then,
no, I was just gonna say. So we met you. Actually, didn't realize that we met you at SilCon.
Oh, really?
You were sitting next. Yeah, you were sitting next to us.
That's right. Yeah.
You had the table next to us. Yeah, and I was like, when I asked if you wanted to be on the show and stuff, and you're like, yeah. I was like, wait a minute, this looks so familiar. That book, the Ghost of Black. I was like, were you at SilCon? You're like, yeah. I was like, you were sitting right next to us.
That's right. Yeah.
You had the table right next to us. Yeah.
I have a gigantic 9-foot by 3-foot vertical banner of the book cover. Just a huge book cover that you can see from a mile away.
Well, you should remember Santiago from there. He was yelling all up and down that mall.
Was he? I don't.
Yeah.
I do not. A lot of events, unless something's truly significant happened, everything's just a blur to me. I have memory retention issues. So unless something really sticks, it's all gone within a week. So I don't know if it's good or bad, but it depends what it is. But
it depends on what you want to know. Yeah, what you want to remember.
I remember getting down there, and I remember they're like, "Yeah, we want you to give a Black Hawk presentation. It's going to be awesome." I'm like, "Sweet, let's do it." And then I get there and I'm like, hey, so, where am I setting up? Where's the stage? And they're like, oh, you're just going to stand here in the middle of the floor.
Yeah. There wasn't much of a stage.
And I'm like, okay, well, no stage, no microphone, no podium, no projector, no screen. It's just like, all right, so I'm just going to wing this entire presentation for one person. And I'm like, this is fun.
Is that who was sitting there? Was one person?
One person. A couple people paid attention as they came by, but it's yeah, this is definitely an expo. not a conference.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we experienced some not some good things there. We didn't sell a lot.
Yeah.
It was more of a, I would think more of a Silcon, or more of like Comic Con than it was more of a paranormal
Well,
type.
see, in order to be a conference, you have to be more than just vendors, right?
Right.
Mhm.
So it was all vendors. So basically, it's just an expo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Silcon kind of isn't the right name for it.
No,
Um,
not. I
but
don't know. She didn't have it this year, so we'll see what happens next year.
yeah, the mall space was really cool.
Oh
If
yeah.
you could
Yeah.
have gained access to one of the stores that were closed and nobody was using to put chairs in there, like you could have had a speaking space easily.
Hmm.
Yes.
So I mean,
Yeah.
it didn't work out, and
Yeah.
if they didn't have it this year, then who knows now? But
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't remember the reason why they decided not to and stuff.
yeah,
Something was going
I
on or something. So
I thought I read something about the mall space, about how
maybe that's what it was.
maybe they couldn't have it there or something, um but yeah, so you have an event like that where it's just like, man, there's like nobody here, they're just here to shop and that's about it. And then like the event I went to this weekend at the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash,
Hmm.
Yes.
we're talking like night and day conferences.
Wow.
I mean,
We were talking about that before you got on, or before the show started.
yeah,
We talked about that. We were talking about that because
that is
we knew
that
some
is a
people that were going to be there, and I heard
that's
it
a
was pretty good.
crazy conference. For one, it's a 3-dayer, so those 3-dayers tend to drag on forever, right? It's just like,
Right.
oh, this is the third day. No, not Gettysburg, not the Bash. You're just like, oh my God, there's 2 more days left. This is gonna be so epic. So, like the first day, every bit of maybe 500 people come through the door the first day, and we're talking a Friday between noon
Yeah.
and 6. This is like after work hours. Noon and 6, maybe an hour for people to get off their jobs and come in. You still had like 500 people.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
And I got to leave my booth a little bit, and that was cool. And then after that, there was dinner and investigations, and I explored the little round top and climbed a mountain. Great time. I had the best time ever. I live streamed from a cavalry field where we were getting some really neat stuff. So, check mark, investigated the Gettysburg battlefield. Set.
Yep. That's checked off the list.
Right. But while I was gone, they had this like gigantic bonfire and smoking cigars with like Zaphis and a bunch of other people. And I'm like, oh, I kind of want to do that too. Damn it. All right. I'm gonna stick around for Saturday. I'm not gonna go out Saturday. So again, 12 to 6, except this time it's Saturday. Most people don't have work. This place
Mhm.
was packed. I could not leave my booth. So many people were in and out all through my area. I'm just like, I didn't even get a feel of how many people came through,
Oh wow.
but
Wow.
every bit of more than 500, that's for sure.
Phew.
So,
That's good.
conference just packed,
Yeah.
probably up to 100 vendors. I'm not 100% sure. There's a lot of us. And then afterwards, I catch dinner with Dave Schrader and Sarah Loomis and Vincent, his wife Val, and then Jamie, who was there with Dave, helping with his booth, and come back. And then now they're doing a celebrity bartending contest, and it's Team Schrader and Zappis against Santiago, against stripper Batman, who isn't a stripper, but he took off his shirt to try to get more people to go and buy drinks from him.
Oh.
Batman's a
Man.
fit dude, so it worked.
Oh man.
And then Team Brichelle. So
Oh,
you know, Team Schrader and Zappis made over $1,000 in tips. Team Brichelle made over
Wow.
$1,000 in tips. Santiago was like 200 something, and then Team Batman made like 600 something.
wow.
So I mean, lots of drinks were bought, and it makes it sound bad, right? You have all this drinking at a paranormal conference, right? People would normally think badly about that.
Yeah.
No, all the money that was raised throughout the conference for the bar challenge, for the auction, for everything, all that money went to Shaylee Clace's cancer fundraiser.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So I don't know if they've put the number out yet. But I
Yeah.
heard it discussed. It's a lot.
That's really good.
A lot. So,
Yeah.
that $3,000 in tips for the bartending contest they held, that
Yeah.
3,000 went into that pot.
That's awesome.
So,
Exciting.
and then Dave Schrader was quote unquote paid a couple $100s to shave his beard off.
Yeah, he shaved his goatee off. Yes, I saw that.
That went into the pot. And then Russ and
Yes.
Wes shaved their heads and their beard for a lot of money. That went into the pot. Russ waxed his legs. That went into the pot.
Oh,
everything that we
man.
could possibly do. It's like, come on, keep giving money to this fundraiser. We gotta help this little girl with cancer. And it was one of those moments where it's like, this is why the paranormal is here. This is what paranormal unity is right here.
Yes.
All that crap they put on Facebook about paranormal unity, that's all garbage. That's garbage.
Yeah.
This is paranormal unity. So
That was good. I saw Santiago take a picture with Dave Schrader, and he had no goatee or nothing on.
No goatee.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, I'm doing a live stream, and I'm like thinking, they could shave his head too, but nothing would change.
Yeah.
So, the only thing he's got was his goatee.
Yeah.
But and then that was Saturday. Like everyone was just kind of hanging out and just kind of mixing it up. And it didn't really matter if you're from the Travel Channel or you're from YouTube or you're just a dude that likes the paranormal. You're all sitting at the same table.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not normal for the paranormal, So I think that's what makes Gettysburg a really special event. And I kind of mentioned it, in the green room or whatever. But I think everybody in the paranormal should make that paranormal pilgrimage out to Gettysburg and go to that event.
We might have to keep it open for next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a blast.
I know they already have the dates up. It's the last weekend of July, and the hotel is already over half booked.
Wow.
So,
Nice.
and then you got to get, the other hotels or the Airbnbs and all that stuff. But the two hotels that the conference is held in, those are already half booked. So, to anyone that wants to go, you need to go. You should go. You will not regret it.
So the vendors are in a certain hotels, or are they in a conference room or a hall, or?
So it's two hotels that are linked together. So it's like a conference center with two hotels, and then the vendors were in the grand ballroom of one of the hotels. And then the second hotel had smaller conference rooms, and then other things were held in those rooms.
Gotcha.
And then some of the vendors were stretched in through the hallways around the big ballroom, which is where I was. I was in a hallway. And that worked out really well for me because it was quieter and I could actually talk to people without shouting at them.
Oh, nice.
I actually really liked that. And then my hotel room was 100 feet away down the hall. So I could just dart to my room, grab something and come right back and then miss nothing.
That's awesome.
But
that's cool.
But yeah,
or
next
you
year
could get up at 10:50. You have to be there at 11.
Yeah.
Literally just walk down to your table.
I did numerous times. I'm like, all right, I need to be there at 11 to get my booth set back up, pull the cloth off and get everything stood up. And I'm like, I could do it right at 11. It takes me a minute to walk over. So, and then other times I'm like, oh, well, okay. It's about 10 minutes until people start coming in. I'm just going to walk back to my hotel room and go to the bathroom instead of using the bathroom that everybody's going in and out of all day.
I didn't think about that. That's pretty cool too. There you go.
You don't
get
wait
a
online
refrigerator of snacks and drinks in your room too, so you can just go down and get your.
That
works out pretty good.
Come right back. So that worked a lot. That worked out really well.
That does.
And I'm looking forward to going next year. Unfortunately, I won't have the cool hallway spot because they're repositioning everything. I'll be in the main room, but I'm hoping to be up by the big wigs next year. So it'll be a little quieter up there because there's less people trying to sell things at the front of the room.
Yeah.
But
I have to check into it for next year. It's at the end
Yeah.
of July, so that's good. We don't like to do too many events like paranormal events in June or July because it's so hot. So most buildings don't have air conditioning, and who wants to?
This conference was hot. Don't get me wrong; it was in the mid to high 80s, I think. But in terms of like inside, it was pretty well conditioned.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't want to sit in. Who wants to sit in the dark with sweat rolling down your back trying to find a ghost to communicate with you using the equipment and stuff? So we try to stick with more of the fairs and the Paracons in June and July, so that way we don't have to worry about
the cool thing is this is Gettysburg. There was no like official investigation after the conference like a lot of these conferences have.
Yeah,
you just go and find a spot and there's ghosts there.
Oh, that's cool.
There's the big tourist spots like the bridge and a little round top and whatnot. You can go there, or someone that's been around the area for a while, they can show you some of the less traveled locations, and you just go. You don't need someone to bring you there or anything like that. You can find someone at the conference if you need someone to go with. They'll go with you. And go for a little bit and then go back to the hotel and hang out.
Yeah, there we go, Maddie. We've been talking about getting to Gettysburg, so maybe we just do that.
There we go.
You got to go. You have to go.
Yeah.
Next year is going to be even better from some of the things that I've heard. Some of the plans they have. So I don't know how they're going to top this one, but it sounds like they're trying.
I'll definitely have to check it out and get scheduled in there, so that way we can get a room and stuff. So
yeah.
So moving on from the paranormal into the paranormal to Duff. Now you've had a TV show.
Yeah, so I was on the Paraflix Network for 3 seasons. I starred and created the show. It's called Expedition Entity, and we mostly stayed around the American Midwest, Illinois and Wisconsin. And we were looking for lesser known locations because you don't have to go to Waverly Hills to experience the paranormal.
True.
Everyone's been to Waverly. That story's been told. There's no new story to tell there. But what if I tell you about this 60,000 square foot middle school in the middle of nowhere, where not only is it haunted by a dozen students, but it's also haunted by 2 principals, a janitor, a science teacher, a librarian, a school nurse, and 2 Native American elementals because there's an Indian burial ground on the back of the property.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Doesn't that sound a lot more fun than the location that everybody else has been to?
That kind of catches your ear a little more than I went to Waverly Hills and everyone like you said, everyone knows the story. Wow.
So that was our focus. We liked going to places.
Can I ask where this lovely place is?
It's called Broadhead Manor in Broadhead, Wisconsin. It was also the location we filmed at that won us a Telly Award. And we won in the same season that The Curse of Lizzie Borden won and season 11 of A Haunting won. So to be up with those 2 properties is pretty damn impressive to me. Like they have multi-million-dollar companies that are working on this stuff. I'm just a dude in my basement. So
that's awesome, though. I
got that email and I was excited. I'm just like, I can't believe I won. So
now Broadmoor, like that place, also has a Paracon.
Broadhead, it has Spirits.
Yeah, Broadhead does. Yeah,
Spirits in the Spring, which was in May, and then this year it was in June. So I don't know what next year's is going to be yet. I don't think they have dates out. It'll be a little while yet.
Their June one conflicted with something that we had going on because I had met them. I can't think of their names. So it was a lady and a gentleman. We went to a Dark Art Odyssey convention.
That would probably be
in DeKalb. We were at.
It's probably Nick and Sharon.
Yeah, they were at that conference. And they're like, hey, if you're looking for another thing, we're holding a Paracon. It brought
that would have been Willie Adkins, Dark Arts and Oddities conference.
Yeah. Does he have? I didn't see any advertisement. I don't think he's doing it again this year.
I don't
I hadn't
think
seen it.
so.
He didn't like last year was kind of they didn't do a lot of advertising and stuff, and not a lot of people came into her and stuff. So he was kind of upset about that.
I find that there are too many small conferences. Like, it's an oversaturated market. Everyone and their brother wants to have a conference that, has half a dozen people there and then gets 50 people in the door. But, then that's it.
Right.
It's almost like the paranormal podcast market. It's a little oversaturated. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of podcasts. So,
Yep.
it can become hard. At least with the podcast, it doesn't really cost you very much, right?
Mhm.
Right.
So having a lot of them isn't a big deal. But with conferences, you've got location fees, insurance. You got to have something figured out for food, so food trucks or something of the matter.
Correct.
And then if you want anybody of worth being there, a lot of these people that have been on Netflix or the Travel Channel, Discovery, or anything like that, they come with a cost.
Yeah, they have their guarantees where you have to pay them $400, $500 just to come,
Right.
and and then they charge for autographs. So
Right.
and then they get
Right.
that too on top of it. So yeah, that's crazy.
Even I have a minimum guarantee for me to go to events. Just
There you go.
because, I am not on Travel or Discovery or Netflix or anything like that. And mine was a smaller network. But, if you're wanting me to go to your event, I can't go to your event and then leave in the negative.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can't spend $800 at your event and then walk away with $200 in book sales. Like that.
Yeah.
No. So, for me, it's if you cover my hotel, I will get there. I'll figure out how to get there and I'll figure the rest out myself.
Mhm.
But,
There you go.
from a couple of friends of mine, they're like, you need to be charging people at least $500 to go. And I'm like, then I'm not going to get to go to as many events because a lot of these events don't want to pay anything.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it becomes really tough.
Yeah,
You
the
have
smaller
all
ones
these
they
events
don't want
choose from.
to. Yeah.
So
Yeah, the smaller ones you don't want to, they don't want to pay or nothing like that. So
right. And they'll get, 30, 40 people through the door, but those vendors didn't make any money because they had to pay the vending
right.
fee to get their booth.
Right.
So
How much were they? How much were they charging at the door at Gettysburg?
I'm not sure. I
You're
do
not
not
sure.
know.
Okay.
Um,
And that's another staple too when you're having a conference is how much you charge,
it is.
because and that's a crazy thing. And I know we're talking about this other than what you do, but the one thing that we saw, like when we go to Troy Taylor's here in Illinois, he has his Get Haunted conference, and he charges like $65, $70 a ticket to get in. But that's for like the whole weekend, and that's even to see the vendors. If you don't even want to see, the guests, just to come into the vendors is that much money too.
Yeah.
And I found that out 2 years ago when we first went with them. I was like, well, how much does it cost for people just to come in and shop? And they're like, $65.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. But people, they buy it.
The Great Lakes Paranormal Conference is pretty expensive just to get in. Michigan Paracon, from what I remember, is pretty expensive to get in.
That's the big one, though. Everybody talks about that one.
It is.
The
It
Michigan,
is.
Yeah.
Gettysburg, from what I remember, wasn't that expensive. I just remember how much it was. Let me see if I can pull it up while we're talking here. What other one was really expensive that I went to and I was really surprised? I think Hauntlanta was also pretty expensive, off the top of my head. That was the one that's down in Georgia.
Oh, okay.
I think that one was also expensive, but I can't find anything on how much Gettysburg was. But I don't think it was very expensive. I think it's actually pretty affordable.
That's good. And that also brings in people too. So
it does.
So
it does.
Yeah. So Broadhead Manor was on your show. What other kind of cool places that you had small that you did episodes of?
So not that far from DeKalb in Oregon, Illinois, there's this bar. It's called Sledgehammer's, I think, Bar and Grill. And it's an old building that was built onto a much older farm silo. And they converted the silo into part of the building. So the upper part is like a gambling slots room. and the lower part is just in the basement. That's not finished yet.
Hmm.
So, you know, when we were doing our investigation, we were getting normal stuff upstairs, like, oh, this is pretty strong activity. This will make a really good episode. And we decided to go down into the basement because we wanted to investigate in the bottom of the silo. So, you know, you get down to the basement and then you look in the silo, and the bottom of the silo is still another like 6-foot drop from the basement floor. So there's like a chair to climb in and out and a whole bunch of stuff. So we're down there investigating, and we're like, we're going to do a few things in this silo because I don't want to have to come back down here later. We're just going to do it all now.
It's like, once I go down, I'm not going. When I go back up, I'm not going back down again.
Right. You know, like Dan has like bad joints from being a firefighter and a paramedic. He's like, once I'm in here, I'm in here.
He's like, I'm not moving.
Once I leave, I'm not coming back. So we on one of the sessions, we end up pulling out the SB7, and we're just kind of fielding around for questions, trying to get something. And one of our friends, Steve Bartell, who had investigated the location before, the last time he was there, over one of their devices, they had the word mommy come across. So he starts asking about that. And, you know, the last time we were here, we heard mommy. Could you say it again? And I kid you not, it is in the episode. The SB7 goes, mommy, but in a child's voice.
Oh.
And like, if you watch the episode, you kind of see them both like stand there like, what? Did you hear that?
Yeah. Well, it's like, how many times do we ask, like, oh, can you do it again? And it doesn't happen again.
And it doesn't.
So the fact that you were like, do it again, you're like, okay, in your head, you're like going, okay, the chances of it likely happening again is very slim. And then you just hear mommy clear as day. You're like, did we all just really hear that?
So the question is, why in the hell is there a mommy in a child's voice
also
coming
gives a
from the
verification
bottom of the
too.
silo? Right?
Yeah.
Like why is that coming across? So we did some research, and
That's creepy.
at a restaurant on the other side of town, they have a lot of vintage photographs from around the area and around the town and whatnot. And it has some aerial photos. Some aerial photos from, you know, the late 1800s that show that silo standing in the middle of a field by itself. And next to that photo is another very vintage photo of the people that built the silo. And I kid you not, in that photo of the people that built the silo, there's a little boy amongst all the builders.
Wow.
And the local legend is that boy drowned in the bottom of that silo while it was being constructed.
Oh, shit.
Up.
That's crazy.
So you have this weird response that is a little boy saying mommy in a silo. And now you look up the history and you go, oh, man. Oh,
that's legit.
That evidence becomes real. Like it becomes one of those
real.
Like, oh.
Now, would you rather experience something like that, or would you rather go to Waverly Hills?
Oh yeah, I mean you.
Yeah,
like yeah, you
can't
guarantee that's going to happen every time, obviously.
Yeah.
Where in Waverly Hills, you're going to get great evidence, but you're not going to discover evidence. You're not going to discover a story or discover history that ties to the paranormal because it's been said and done there.
Right.
I mean, it's great and everything. Like we've been to Waverly. Like we would love to go back, but this is speaking for myself. I love the small little places. Yes, I love the bucket list places. You know, those are great. But I also love those small little places that, like you said, you figure out the story. You're the person to be like, oh, this is a new story. This is somebody new that we can talk to, and their story can get told.
Right. And there's something to be said about being the one that told it first.
Yeah.
And that's where I come in on the filmmaker side. You know, yeah, don't get me wrong. Like I loved filming a show. That's, you know, what my focus was for my master's degree was in visual communication, documentary filmmaking and all that. But, you know, after almost 15 years in the paranormal, you know, there's nothing left to prove. Like I know it exists. Most people I talk to, they know it exists. So what's left for me? It's to tell stories now. That's what I like doing. I like being the storyteller. So I'd much rather go to a sledgehammers, a broadhead, something like that,
Yeah.
than to go to Waverly and be like, hey, I want you to film a documentary of an investigation at Waverly. And it's like, this has been said and done. This story's told,
Many a
like
times.
I'll do
Mhm.
it, but it's like there's really nothing new here.
Yeah.
Whereas if they go, hey, I want you to scour southern Wisconsin and come up with a story about a schoolhouse. Any schoolhouse you want, I just need a story about a schoolhouse. All right, I'm gonna find some off the wall, off the beaten path, wild locations that it's like, oh, I've never heard
Yeah.
of that place before,
Yeah.
but here's some cool
So
stuff there.
with that, what is the process of finding these off the beaten path buildings and locations?
Sure. Well, the easiest thing to do is probably to start at your county historical society. You just
Okay.
just pick a county and just go to the
Mm.
historical society. Be like, hey, I'm looking for some like town rumors, some old stories, some weird paranormal activity, and you're not always going to find somebody that's going to talk about it.
Yeah.
The older generations, they still don't like talking about it very much,
Mhm.
but you're going to find some that do. And they're going to be
Right.
like, yeah, I remember we all used to talk about this school that was out in the middle of this field or something like that. And oh yeah, the building still exists today. It's abandoned now. Oh, cool. Let's check that out. Or,
Mhm.
um this house that is now owned by somebody, it's got stuff going on there. We always knew it was haunted. And then you go and you
Yeah.
talk to these people and you be like, hey, listen, I'd like to come and try to get in. Or you find the history first,
Mhm.
and then you find the locations along that history. Another location we covered in the show was the Roadhouse in Oregon, Illinois.
Mm.
That location was the last place that Mary Jane Reed and Stanley Skridla were seen alive before they were murdered.
Oh wow.
And come to
Wow.
find out, there's a lot of history attached to that building with Al Capone and gangsters and bootlegging and stuff like that. So, the
Mm.
building is ripe with history.
Yeah.
You just have to go and find the connection to the paranormal. Well, lo and behold, there's a lot of theory that Mary Jane was murdered in the building there because there's a blood drain in the basement in the butcher's room. And if you're going to kill somebody, what's the best place to do it? Where you can hide the blood amongst all the pig blood.
Mhm.
So you start,
That's a
researching the
second.
history and you start talking to the owner and you're like, hey, I want to film an episode here. And lo and behold, this place is pretty dang haunted.
Wow.
It's nice. See, it's like a roadhouse and it has a basement with a butcher shop in the
So
basement.
it's
So that
called the
makes sense
Roadhouse.
for the building. Right. Well, there's a building the building that we're actually in right now
Yeah.
is a haunted location. I was thinking we were somewhere else for some reason. I don't know why. But in the basement here was a butcher shop, and this used to be a restaurant.
Hmm.
And there's a butcher shop. And we were always thinking that's a weird place for a butcher shop to be at. But like you said, it's easier for the drains and
Hmm.
and of course the mafia was involved here at this place in this
Yeah.
restaurant. So yeah, that
Yeah.
makes a lot of
Plus, you're
this place is
underground. It's
crazy.
easier to,
That's
to
why I was
keep
like,
cool in the basement.
Mhm.
right.
So it makes complete sense. But yeah, that it sounds like that location shares a lot of coincidences with the other location I'm talking about, which is
Mhm.
actually called the
That's
Roadhouse.
cool.
So,
So of all the places, okay, let's just say for all the places you've been, you said you've been doing it for about 15 years.
just about, yeah.
What is your most craziest, just weird thing that's happened on your investigations?
So a cemetery, just a little. Well, actually, it's a graveyard because it's attached to a church, but a graveyard, little podunk, middle of the cornfields, church and graveyard. My partner Dan had his arms up on a chain link fence like this, hands inside the graveyard, just kind of talking out into the ether, right?
Mhm.
And I'm taking pictures and I'm turned away from him to talk to the other investigator that we're with, and her eyes just go buggy, And I turn around and Dan is half over the chain link fence. The only reason he didn't get pulled into the graveyard is because the top of the chain link where they're twisted together caught on his pants, and it prevented him from falling in. And he stumbles back out of the graveyard, and on his forearms there are giant handprints like this, like something grabbed him by the arms and pulled him into the graveyard.
Oh, wow.
And chain link fences, they're what, like 5 feet up,
4 foot,
most
4
of the time,
foot tall.
4 foot tall. So, and Dan was over 300 pounds. He's not going to be able to jump flat-footed 4 feet up and over the fence.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna happen. He's a big boy. So and then for these handprints to appear on his arm like this, and then 3 or 4 hours later they're gone. Like all paranormal bruises, they disappear.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
So that one was interesting. That was very early on when we first started investigating, and we were looking more for the evidence than for the story.
Yes.
So I'm just here snapping pictures. We couldn't afford video cameras back then. The 720p camcorder was $1,200. Now you can get a 4K camera that does production quality work for $1,200.
Yeah.
All right.
So
It seems like now everybody's walking around with cameras now because they're on your phone. They're so it's so much that you can capture now with compared to back in the day.
Oh yeah,
and stuff.
You can do a lot.
So on that kind of the same topic of your most creepiest, what is your most funniest moment that you've experienced in 15 years with the paranormal?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
That's a good question. See, we always get the creepiest. Yeah, but we never get. Someone asked me that one time. I was like, wow, that's always a good question because we always get the weird, like, what's your most creepiest, weirdest moment, scariest moment?
Yeah.
And then he was like, what's your most funniest moment? I'm like, ooh, that's a tough one.
I would have to say it was while we were filming Sledgehammers. They had just put out some rebar to kind of map off an area where they're going to pour concrete. And they had one sticking up in the air, and they were spray painted orange, but the flag had fallen down. So, the owner's like, hey, watch the rebar right there. Just make sure to walk to the left of it. And Dan is looking down at his camera and not paying attention. And he walks into this rebar. And the rebar tears a hole in his pants because, the top of it's kind of sharp. And I kid you not, the hole that rebar ripped in his pants is an inch over from certain death.
Oh no!
And I remember he's just the way he got caught up on. He's just like, ugh! And the noise he made, I just started dying. And of course, we're all like, "Hey, are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. And then we all kind of sit there for a second, and then just bust out laughing.
Oh man!
Like, hey, watch out for this. Okay, I'm gonna walk into it now.
And then walk right into it.
That was pretty funny.
That's kind of like our moment there, Maddie, at ISS when I was like, hey, watch your step. And I missed the step and walked. Boom.
Oh, man.
I was like, watch your step. And then I missed the whole step, too. And it was just, I was like,
yeah.
Geez Louise. Yeah. Maddie, you have any comments you want to get through?
Yeah, I can get a couple. He said, Dan, why does your voice sound like a bed of silk?
Ooh la la.
Apparently your voice sounds really good.
Apparently tonight it is.
Let's see. They said, I need to read that book, Larry.
I'm guessing that's probably for the Black Hawk War book.
Yes.
That'd be my guess. It looks like that's Broadhead. So I wonder who that is.
Eternal Paranormal.
Eternal Paranormal. I don't know everybody's team names. I know the people, but not the team names.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm like always like, I don't know the real name.
So if you're still listening, Eternal Paranormal, who are you?
Yeah. Steve Wren said,
hey Steve.
Steve Wren was one of the investigators on the show. Steve was investigating with Dan before I was. So I've been working with Steve for almost that entire 14, 15 years.
Oh,
Awesome.
wow.
Thank you,
Nice.
Steve. Coming.
One of the OGs.
Lauren Lauren said, I don't think I've ever read a story from the ghost perspective. That is an interesting concept. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lauren's
absolutely.
one of our readers. She's a reader, boy. She's
Yeah?
definitely a
Yes.
reader.
She's a
So
reader.
that one, I don't remember if I said the name of it. It's called Afterlife Anthology. It's on Amazon. There are a couple stories in there where the story starts after death. You know,
I
so
like
it's
Nice.
like, hey, I'm dead, and then the story begins.
I like
So
that.
That
it's
is
a little
cool.
That is
different.
so
That's
cool.
good.
And there are a couple
Um,
really dark ones too. So you know,
oh,
you
Oh, was
gotta
that it?
because not every
no.
death is all light and fluffy, right? Some of these deaths are pretty
Yeah.
traumatic.
Uh-huh.
That's
Yeah.
right. No.
Weird said, I know someone good on locations here in Arkansas. LOL. I talk about the stories on my podcast. Nice.
I went to the Crescent
We'll have to
in
check it out.
Arkansas one time, and that's a pretty haunted place. It has
Eureka Springs.
Yeah.
some really cool
Yes.
history
That
attached to it.
doctor was just weird.
Yeah, but it's
That doctor was like crazy.
it's a fully functioning hotel. You'll never get to fully investigate it the way you need to.
Yeah.
No,
You
no,
know,
and that's the thing is
like
they'll never block it off to where no one's there for you to have.
right.
So you never know exactly, if the sounds that you hear, the footsteps you hear is not someone walking around or something like that. So
The room
Hey,
next to you, the room above you, the room below you.
yeah. I mean, unless we win the lottery and we just rent out all of the rooms.
Sure,
sure.
yeah.
Heather said, hey. Hello, Heather.
Hello.
So,
Let's see.
Your name is very close to my name, Heather.
yeah, I was for a second I was like, is that a relation to you? But it's not.
It's close. It's close.
I'm also blind too. I'm like, it's very blurry on my screen. So
Sure. Well, I
Um,
if I like squint and like blur my eyes a little bit, it's the same shape.
oh yeah, there you go. That
Yeah.
does look. Yeah, I can see that.
It's the same shape.
Gina said, I don't know. I'd like to go to Waverly sometimes. Haven't been.
So Waverly is kind of like Gettysburg. It's like the one place on your bucket list where you should just go to it.
Yeah.
But for me, it's
Yes.
a location where I'm not gonna keep going back to investigate.
Correct.
Yes.
So, I'll go back to Gettysburg because I'm a history major for my undergrad and I love Civil War history. But, once I've investigated a few times, man, I'm good. I'm all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, Waverly, you go maybe 2 or 3 times so you can experience all of the whole building.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of, over.
Been there, done
It's
that.
the same thing over and over. Yeah.
Yeah. Lauren kind of says the same thing. I also wouldn't say no to the night of Waverly. I like the small places, but still have fun experiencing the well-known locations that get us interested in the field. Agree. How we all been
Yes.
saying, like it's really nice, but you
I
have
don't
to at least
I don't like
experience those small
paying
ones.
I don't like paying as much as they charge though.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
And that's where you can find those smaller places and
Ugh.
you get better, smaller, you can get, like you said, you get that more creepier sometimes, that whole mommy thing, little child saying mommy and stuff like that, or interaction with a kid at a small house that, or school that people say, oh, that place is kind of haunted,
Yeah.
and they don't ever want to talk about it or whatever. And you get to experience that with, that smaller house and smaller things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said, the Waverly thing, you're going to get the residual energy there and the residential spirits that walk around there and stuff like that, which is cool because, those are the big places like Waverly, Indiana State Sanitarium, Missouri State Penitentiary, all those, and stuff like that. Yes, those are cool. But you to go like to find little places and stuff is really kind of, that's off the, that's off the roads and off the charts.
Yeah.
Because those places need to be told too. They have a story. Like you said, they all have a story.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And a lot of these places, need that money to survive. I'll give you a great example. One of the locations we filmed in, I think season 2, it's the Egyptian Theater in DeKalb. And during COVID, they were shut down. There's no films, there's no plays, but you know what they did have?
Ghost stores.
They had ghost events.
Paranormal.
They had people renting the building out to investigate it because you could still be in a small group for the paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Yeah.
paranormal kept them afloat long enough to keep things going.
Yeah.
Now,
that's funny you say that because a lot of places that I've talked to, they were doing that for COVID.
mhm,
They were, because you could have the small group of 10 people still and
mhm.
stuff like that. Because I've called a couple places and I'm like, oh, do you do ghost hunts? We're like, to, do an event. And they're like, oh, we stopped it after COVID.
Yeah,
Like they
I don't
don't
know
even do
why.
ghost hunts no more because I'm like, well, if you were making money back then, why don't you still make the money?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
crazy.
I know for a lot of locations, it's one for staffing. You have to pay your staff to be there. And it's like,
Right.
well, add that onto the reservation. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
need one employee there for 6 hours and you have to pay them, let's say $20 an hour, you need to add $120 onto the reservation and explain why. If
Right.
if your team goes, hey, well, what's this $120 charge? And you go, oh, that's for our employee to stay with you to make sure nothing happens. That's what we pay him. No team is going to be like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We get it.
Yeah.
Someone has to be
Right.
there. They're not going to be there for free.
Oh yeah, they all have to be.
Yeah. And
Not a lot of
then there's
places give you the
insurance.
keys and be like, here you go.
Right. And then a lot of places, in order to be
Yeah.
open outside of their store hours, it's an insurance thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, all that kind of
Yeah.
factors in. But yeah, if you're making money and you've already established that, hey, we do tours here and this is how much we charge, and people were filling up your weekends doing it, why would you stop? Just keep making money.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy
Yeah.
and stuff.
But that theater, I think when we booked it a couple years ago, it was like $350 or $250 for 4 hours. And then we paid an extra hour before and an hour after because we were filming and it takes time to set equipment up.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But for those couple hours, it's a theater. There's only so much you can do. You can't spread out very much. And we still
Mm-hmm.
hit it super hard in those 4 hours. Enough for us to get a lot of activity and be very satisfied with it. And it didn't
Yeah.
require us to drive to Kentucky. It didn't require us to get a hotel. It didn't require us to find 10 people to split up this $1,000 minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody pretty much paid $50 and we're set. And then we just drive home for the night.
Yeah, that was good. Like we did Fowler Theater in Fowler, Indiana. And that theater is just amazing. That's like stepping back in time.
Yeah.
Like the way they have the old theater set up and everything. But there you get to do two places. You can do Fowler Theater and you do Old Benton County Jail.
Okay.
Which is really cool too. That place is they have they have an evidence room that still has evidence in that you get to walk into.
Wow.
It still has like legitimate evidence in brown bags and marijuana. And there's one bag I think it has coke in it, guns. Jeez. Oh god, yeah, it's just crazy that they just left. The sheriff's department just left all that stuff there. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I had a friend that was looking through, and I was like, you're putting your fingerprints all over this stuff. If there's a case that's never opened up,
right,
you're gonna get in so much trouble because they're gonna have your thing. But
well, the funny thing is, even if a case opened back up again, like the chain of custody and all that stuff is broken now.
Yeah,
it's all useless.
How many people have played with that stuff? Oh yeah, and the majority of the stuff was liquor bottles and cigarettes from like kids getting caught with liquor, marijuana, and stuff like that. So there was a lot of that there and stuff. Yeah. But what else you gonna do in a small town?
Let me imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Gina said $70 for a conference is cheap. I don't think we've been to many conferences to know what.
Yeah, I'm always selling. I have not been to a conference that we've actually just gone. We're always vending in conferences, so I don't really know.
Yeah, I tend to vend most of mine just because especially if I'm speaking and whatnot, it costs me money to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's something drivable, like for Spirits in the Spring, I attended that one because it's drivable from my house.
Okay.
So that one's not a big deal. For anything in Chicago, if I didn't present this year, I could have drove to it and attended, and it was $1 to get in. But anywhere else other than the super local stuff, like if I can't vend, then again I'm leaving the conference in the negative. And you can't do that. Otherwise, you're you're not going to stay afloat for very long.
Yeah.
So
No, not at all.
but the fact that $70 for hi Bonnie, $70 for a conference being cheap is like that's the state of our economy right now, where someone goes $70, yeah, that's fine. It's a lot of money.
Larry must know Bonnie.
I do.
I know.
Bonnie is.
I accidentally clicked on it.
She was just at Gettysburg with me. She was another one of the vendors
okay.
there. So her and her daughter Jenny, and then I joined them at the top of Little Round Top for a brief investigation while I was gasping for air and you know.
Once you made it up
Larry's
the
like,
hill.
I didn't know I was going to have to go on a hike here.
Right. Well, apparently there's a parking pad on the back of the hill that there's a little like path that you drive around, and I didn't know that until I was halfway on the hike, and I'm just like, that's a road.
Oh,
You're like,
man.
A road over here.
oh,
And then I get to the top, and I'm like, parking. There's parking.
as you're like
parking.
huffing and puffing in the summer heat, like.
So I live streamed it because I'm like, look at this cool place, and we're gonna go, guys. We're gonna go up there, and like 10 feet into the hike, I'm like, just dying. My legs are on fire.
Oh man, a whole life can just hear your breathing, like.
just be like, man, Larry, you're kind of out of shape, brother. And then on the way down,
anybody would.
Yeah, it's a good hike. On the way down, I overstayed my welcome, and it got too dark.
Ooh.
Oh.
So I'm using my phone as a flashlight, and I'm just like, well, I'm gonna live stream this because if I die, they'll know where to find my body.
Yeah.
So I'm just walking around going, hey, there's my feet, guys. Look how steep this is. I'm gonna die. You guys, okay, see this big boulder here? This is the current monument. If I die, look around this boulder.
This is the landmark I was at.
Right.
Yeah, so, this is a landmark to come find me at.
Very fortunately, I made it down to the bottom, and it was just another one of the funny adventures that I went on that weekend. But but yeah, awesome. If I die, come look by this rock.
I'm over here.
My flashlight will be hopefully on still.
Yeah. No, my phone's still be working.
There's absolutely no way it'll be on because my phone had like 35% battery.
Oh man.
So, it sounds like you weren't very prepared there, buddy.
No. I was not.
No flashlight, no battery pack.
You know, when I got there, it was 8-ish, so there's still an hour till dusk, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna check this out. It's gonna be cool. You know, and then my live took an hour as I'm exploring and showing all this cool stuff, and then by the time they got up there, I'm like, it's kind of dark now. All right, well, it's been fun, but I'm gonna go hike down. And they walk like 10 feet to their car, and I'm like,
Well, can you give me a ride to my car?
Their car was full.
Oh,
man. Damn. That's okay. I'll walk it. It'll be fine. I'll make it alive.
I would have just been like, can I just hop on the roof?
Yeah, can I just drive on the tail or something?
Well, the funny thing was, as I'm walking down, it's dark now. It probably took me 10 minutes to walk down. And lo and behold, I'm the only car in the parking lot now. And this cop pulls up behind me going, the park is closed. You need to get to your vehicle. And I turn around and I go like, what do you think I'm doing? That's my car. I'm the only idiot here right now, walking to the only car. Of course I'm getting in my car and leaving.
You're like, trust me, I wish I would have brought my car up there.
You'd be like, sir, do you have a flashlight I can borrow?
Right.
To find my car.
Sir, can you bring me to my car, please? It's down way over there.
Yeah, sir, you can't be here. The park's closed.
He just
no shit, buddy. I'm trying to get out of here.
He just drives up right behind you the whole time. Doesn't give you a ride or nothing. Just
right.
The dust snuck up on me. It turned to night really quick.
I get to my car and I go and pull out and I start heading towards him, and he goes, "You're going the wrong way." So now I got to back up and do the turn. I'm just like, this sucks. This really sucks. So now you know, Little Round Top is a one-way around.
All the way around.
Not a two-way. You got to go one way around.
Oh
Oh man,
These
he
are
would
the
have never
adventures you
ventured
have.
into that police officer if he would have parked in that that parking lot.
And I wouldn't have this cool story to tell. And it's all about the stories.
Yep, there you go.
Oh.
So
His adventure to Round Top.
Oh yeah.
That's right. I could have the most
Oh, no.
amazing evidence ever. But if I'm just
You
like,
know-
oh hey,
you
yeah,
know
one
he
time
would-
I saw a shadow and like that's all I ever said, like where's the story?
Yeah.
You know, this
Yeah.
one time I had to climb down a mountain in the
Yeah.
dark and I live streamed it saying that if you're gonna find my body, it's gonna be by this boulder. That's a hilarious story.
And then encounter a police officer that told me I couldn't be at the park when I was trying to leave in the first place.
You
didn't
When
tell
I
me,
was trying to leave,
sir,
he
car here,
was going
guy.
the wrong
Come
way.
on.
And then, sir, you're going the wrong way.
You're going the
He
wrong
followed
way.
me to my car. He give me a ride to my car. He followed me to my car.
He was
Stalked
watching you
me.
the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, you know,
I'm
he
the
probably
only
went to the
idiot with a
station and was
flashlight in the
like-
parking lot. Come on.
Yeah. And he's
he
like,
went back to the
"Sir,
station. He
you're
was
going the
like,
wrong
"This
way. Turn
idiot I
around."
just encountered.
Right. Right.
Ugh.
So, oh man.
Did you get them all, Maddie?
I think so. Where it
John
said, I got some
Morgan.
fun interactions from Civil War era Ghost. I'm direct descendant of General John Hunt Morgan and share very similar faces. LOL. Yeah,
That's cool.
that's really
Cool.
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh,
That is
that's it.
awesome. Another thing.
Now my cheeks
So,
hurt.
do you want to tell everybody?
I know. I'm laughing so hard.
My cheeks hurt.
So, I'm going to ask you the question we ask every guest on our podcast.
Okay.
All expenses paid, no money situation, no problems. What is your bucket list in the United States, and what is your bucket list outside of the United States?
Once upon a time, that bucket list was Gettysburg, and I got to scratch that off the list now. So, I will go back for pleasure now, but for bucket list, it is scratched. I would
What?
say,
No other ones now. Then you get to add.
that's tough because there are a lot of Civil War battlefields that I'd still like to visit. You know, old Civil War forts that they may or may not allow me to rent the entire fort out to film and investigate it. Maybe they will, who knows? But some kind of other Civil War location would be the next one, and I haven't looked into any yet. But
If you do, the Lots House in Franklin, Tennessee,
Okay.
that battle, the Franklin Civil War battle there,
okay.
huge. They said that like from what they say, not even 100 yards from the house is a trench that they put all the Confederate soldiers. They just dumped them in there. There's a
Okay,
trench
so,
full of bodies.
Lots House
Yeah.
in Tennessee. Got it. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, Lots
We'll add
House,
that to the list.
Tennessee. Yeah,
Lots-
he can
lots
show
of
you
bodies,
the.
House, Tennessee.
Yeah, he said like the gas station next door to them is haunted. The,
Yeah.
the
The
restaurant up the
auto
street
shop
is
down the
haunted.
street. Yeah.
Yeah, everything is haunted because all that land was,
The
the
whole land.
battlefield and stuff. And
Yeah, sure.
across the street in the park that they have over there, you can still see it's the major battlefield, but where the Lots House was. So basically, what the Lots House was they saw the Civil War coming. So Lots and another family went and barricaded themselves for 3 days. When they came out of the barricade for 3 days, there was bodies stacked 6 feet tall.
Jesus.
They're just everywhere. And they used their home as a hospital.
Field hospital. Yep.
There's
hospital.
actually bloodstains still on the floor and stuff because that was the closest, and everything. And they were just shoveling bodies in. They said they undug one body and he's literally still just like holding his, putting his bullets in his gun with his thing, and just that's how he was dead. He was holding his rifle.
Sure.
And they said 3 days later, they said there was hands coming through the ground because those people weren't dead. Certain people weren't dead, and they were trying to climb out of the ground and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, because back in those days, you figure if you're just unconscious, they
You were
didn't
dead.
know. They poked you, and if you didn't move or nothing, this
Right.
guy's
Yeah.
dead, and they would just throw you into the into the trench.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That place is pretty good. There is a fort in Missouri here, up by Kansas City.
Is there?
Yeah, there's a
Mhm.
fort up here.
Okay.
I've tried to get on there. They said it's a historical society. So, I mean, if we were like to say, hey, if you want to, do a documentary or something, they might let us in, do stuff. But they won't like let you have an event to ghost hunt or nothing like that.
Does that
So,
Lots House allow you to do investigations, or is it just the tours?
oh yeah. You could do investigations.
Okay, because it's not on their
That's
website.
we had an
So,
event there. Yeah, we had an event there. We did an investigation.
okay,
Yeah.
It's really cool.
must be just a
Well,
private thing you got to inquire about.
yeah, you just
Yeah.
call. I think his name was. I can't think of his name now. But if you call, they do ghost hunts, and they still do ghost hunts and stuff there.
Okay, then
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep that one on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
The Lots House
I've
is pretty
already
cool.
I've already looked it up and found the website, and I tucked it away.
There you go. So what's your bucket list outside of the United States?
It's nothing specific because I don't have a specific one, but any Irish, Scottish, English old castle. German old castle, some kind of old castle that's got some stuff.
Apparently,
Nice.
they're free to investigate over there.
Yeah,
Because there's
a friend of
all
Dan's
kinds of castles
lives,
just open.
yeah,
Yeah.
a friend of Dan lives in Ireland, and he's like, "Oh, I can get you into some castles. You just got to get to Ireland." And I'm like, that's expensive.
Yeah.
We're gonna put this off.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just had a guy from New Zealand was on here watching earlier.
Yeah.
Was that a guy from yours?
What's that?
Was that a friend of yours or someone you know, or?
I didn't see the name, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, we had a guest on. They said that their grandparents or something used to just play in the castles.
No, that was me that said that. I was talking to somebody, one of my friends, and she's like, "Oh, like they had known somebody who grew up in Ireland," and they're like, "Yeah, no, they literally just played in the castles. That was their playgrounds. They didn't have public playgrounds. They literally just had castles."
A lot of those
They're
castles,
like all the
just kind of
castles are open and stuff.
ruins.
Yeah, they're not locked up or nothing. You can just go and investigate and stuff. But we did have a guy on from UK, and he says it's very hard to paranormal investigate over there.
Really?
Because a lot of places won't let you a lot of places do not let you do it.
They're not very open. They hold their history so sacred that they don't allow paranormal to be there.
Sure. I can understand that. I can understand that.
Oh yeah.
So where can everybody buy your books or find your shows or?
So everything can be found on my website, which is small-town-productions.com. It was what was available. The regular one was not available, sadly. So the easiest way to find that is to go to my Facebook, Larry Eissler 3, and then it's the web address that you can find for the profile. There's also the Small Town Productions Facebook account that I'm not super active on. I share stuff to it, but I need to be better about that. Otherwise, I have an Instagram. I'm not super active on it. I gave up the Twitter. I gave up the TikTok. I'm mostly just on Facebook. That's the best way to find me. And then on the website, you can find all the stuff I'm doing, the places I'm going, the topics I'm talking about. You can find trailers for the stuff I've produced. You can find my books that I've written. You can find pretty much everything on the website. So find me on Facebook and then just kind of do a deep dive from there.
And if you can't find him on Facebook, he did post some of our the flyers and stuff, so he is on our Facebook too. If you can't find him or anything, so you could just tag on his thing and everything like that.
Yeah.
But but Larry, we thank you for coming with us and talking. Sorry about the whole beginning thing.
Way to stick with us.
Yeah, way to hang out with us.
I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ever want to make a documentary, we are available. Just like
I have 3 to edit still that are mine, so there's not a rush on them. I'm in the middle of somebody else's doc right now. I had a phone call for another doc that wants to start up in September, and then I have to start working on the show that I'm producing as well. So
wow.
I'm running out of me time. Like there's only so much me to go around, and it's starting to get tight.
Oh man, I bet.
Well,
But
can you say what show's coming up that you're working on so people can look forward?
not the show
No.
yet.
Okay.
The one doc that I'm working on, that one has been put out. That one is for Graveside Paranormal with Neil Gibbons. It is being filmed at the Watsika Wonder House
Oh,
in
okay.
Watsika, Illinois. And there's an event on October 26th called the Seance at the Rough House. It's a regular paranormal event, vendors and speakers and all that stuff. But at night is where it's completely different. There at 7:30, there is a 200 plus person seance, funneling
Wow.
all their energy and intentions into one medium. My best friend ever, Diet. She and a group of
Wow.
like 10 people are going to be at the head table doing this seance, and everyone else is just kind of funneling into them. And then we're going to see if all that energy in the seance had an effect on the house afterwards.
Nice.
Wow.
So
I can't wait to see that. I definitely have to look out for that. That's gonna be cool.
Yeah, Diet is leading the seance, and then Dave Schrader is going to be part of the investigation group inside the house.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
So
Nice.
he's taking regular people that pay tickets to investigate the building. He's taking those people through the building after the seance.
Nice.
Nice.
So
That'd be really cool to see.
it's
Yeah.
a whole new wild idea, and the story's cool. So that's why when Neil told me the story, I'm like, yes, I like this
Yeah.
story.
Uh-huh.
Because everybody knows the Watsika Wonder House. The Bruce brothers were there, Ghost brothers were there, but that's about it.
Yeah.
It's still a relatively unheard story. So it still enticed me, and I'm just like, yeah, that seance, we're gonna do this. We're doing this. So,
No, that
and then all of a
sounds
sudden, Dave Schrader
amazing.
jumps aboard, and it's just like, oh, this is gonna be fun now.
That's even better.
Yeah.
That's even better. Well, thank you so much for coming on
Yes,
and using your time
thank you.
with us on Tuesday.
It's
you
been
very
a lot of
much.
fun. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you very
course.
much for coming on.
Sure.
Have
a good night, guys.
You too. Bye. Yeah, that was cool. That sounds cool.
We're gonna have to be watching some stuff when we get home.
Yeah.
I want to see the bar, or the bar and grill. I can't remember the name of that, but we're gonna have to look that up and watch it. I'm really interested in that.
Thanks everybody. Got a couple events coming up in August.
Mhm.
August 16th and 17th, McIntyre Villa and Glore Psychiatric Unit. Wow, excuse me. Sorry, I got the hiccups. And then at the end of the month, Randolph County Randolph County Asylum. And Randolph. Yes, Randolph. August 31st. And then this weekend we're heading to West Virginia Penitentiary.
Yes,
so that should be
we are.
exciting next week. I forgot to look to see what guest is next week. And everything, but we'll hear about our adventures next week. I think we don't have a guest.
I think we didn't.
It's just us.
No, I think I know, because we wanted to talk about the penitentiary.
Yeah, so I think it's just us next week.
Sledgehammer Bar and Grill. Thank you.
We'll hear about all of our lovely adventures at yes. So don't forget, tickets are still on sale for September 21st at Missouri State Penitentiary. You get a spirit gallery in there with Heidi and maybe a card reading. So that comes included with your ticket. Huff Photos did have a different thing they had to do, so they had to bow out. So there will not be the photography there no more. But hopefully in the future down, we can work with them on something else and everything. But anything else, Maddie? Any comments? Anything else?
Gina asked what the order for September was.
September is Wednesday is Mothman. Thursday is for the fifth time again on this one. Mothman on Wednesday, Lake Shawnee on Thursday, Trains Allegheny on Friday, off on Saturday, Sweet Springs on Sunday.
Ta-da! That is our second West Virginia trip that we're going to be taking.
Yeah, that's in our September, which we do have a spot open if anybody's interested. We do have one spot open for our Elite 10.
Yep.
So for that West Virginia trip, like I said, it's not you don't have to go to Mothman. That's just something we're going to do while we're up there. But the trip pays for Lake Shawnee, Trans Allegheny off on Saturday, and Sweet Springs on Sunday. Trans Allegheny is on Friday the 13th. That's how I know it should be a crazy night. So
Yep. Someone said, sorry to blow up the feed. You're fine. You're all good. That's what this is for. The comments are for you guys to interact with us.
who said that?
So, I cannot know how to say the first one.
Oh, it's Rude Minds is what it originally is, but it's rude.
Rude. Okay. Yeah. So you're good.
You're good.
But yeah, no. So stay tuned next week to talk about West Virginia Penitentiary.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing your support this weekend. Hopefully, all the new viewers watch us next week. But yeah, pretty much it. You heard it here, folks.